In this tutorial I will show you 50 superpowers in Minecraft Bedrock with command blocks and then tell you how you can make each and every one of these. Just so you know, this is going to be a bit low on commentary because it's a bunch of commands that are quite repetitive at times. A lot of these commands are going to require you to detect crouching. This can be achieved by creating a scoreboard named crouch by typing /scoreboard objectives add dummy crouch into the chat and then copying these two command blocks. As will become increasingly evident throughout the course of this video, I've drawn some inspiration from the TV show The Boys for some of the powers and, well, actually the underlying idea. Okay, so let's start with super speed. It's basically just gonna allow you to run over things at high speeds. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but anyway, I'm not here to discuss the powers today. I'm here to show you the tutorial. If you want to see just a summary of the powers, then check out my other video I've made on this. Okay, so in order to activate this, you gotta give yourself a stick with the data value 1. So /give add as stick 1 1. See, it works when I hold this stick as well. It doesn't work when I hold the egg. And now it's just your turn to copy the commands. Next we've got the Cancerous Tentacles. And yeah, you're never gonna guess where my inspiration for this idea came from. Okay, you need a string with a data value of 1. And then you should be good to go after creating 2 scoreboards. One of them named time and the other one direction. Okay, so next we got Victoria Newman's head explosion, also from the boys. You see it here. And I've already made another video talking about this, so maybe just check out that. It's linked on the screen right now. Okay, so we've got 3 very generic ones: super strength, super speed, and high jumps or super jumps. And none of these is really spectacular, as I said. So first one is going to require you to get some raw iron with the data value of 1, and it's going to make you stronger. This is the text that's displayed. Same for gold basically, now it's just speed instead. And you guessed it, copper increases your jumping strength. For all of these, just make sure to get items of the corresponding data value and you're fine. Next is semi-flight, which is just kind of akin to just gliding, I guess. Being able to apply a little height boost beforehand. So it's a bit more interesting than the previous 3, but it's also not that much of a big deal. Again, it tests for crouching here. And you need to get a feather with a data value of 1, as you might have guessed by now. Just so you see all the settings, but I think none of these have delay ticks. Alright, emotion control was suggested by one of the ever-changing ones on Guppydog's Discord server. Guppydog is an amazing command block YouTuber, you should check him out. And let's just check it out. You see it basically causes surrounding mobs to attack this one mob, given the mobs have an ability to attack. In order for this to work, you need to create the scoreboard CD emotion, like this, and it works with how these things called turtle scoots that have a data value of 1. So just get one of these and copy the command box. Alright, this ability here was suggested by the same person. It just allows you to phase out, explore the surroundings a bit for a random amount of between 5 and 10 seconds. Then you teleport it back to your original position, as you can see here. You only need to create the scoreboard phase out. And beware, this will put you in survival mode. So use it at your own risk, especially while building these commands. So this is the scoreboard, and that's how you need to create it. Next we got the laser ray. It's, well, it's not really anything out of the ordinary, but I think it does its job well enough. Yeah, let's see here. You actually don't need to create any other scoreboards, and before I forget, it works with blaze powder with Data 1. If you're wondering why I'm repeating these commands a bunch of times, it's usually just because the boats that act as projectiles need to go faster, because you don't want slow lasers, do you? Blinding Burst should also look somewhat familiar. Just pushes enemies back and blinds them, which basically is irrelevant in the base game as long as you don't play in multiplayer. Okay, Blinding Burst also should be somewhat familiar. Just pushes enemies back and blinds them, which is kind of irrelevant unless you're playing with your friends, which in my case won't happen. So works with glowstone, and please create the scoreboard CDB burst like this, as you see it here. And it's actually fairly simple. In case you aren't this quick to read and type, which I highly doubt you are, just pause the video at these segments, right? Next we've got the oil puddle, which isn't really a superpower, but here you go anyway. Also be warned, this might cause some lag depending on the device you're playing on. Yeah, it's here, the oil puddle. I'm just gonna go through the commands. I'm not totally sure which scoreboards you need to create. Well, CD oil is an obvious one, and I'll just tell you once it becomes relevant. Oh yeah, and it works with glowing sacks that have a data value of 1. Actually, the data doesn't really become important until there's going to be more items used for the same power as activators. And yeah, if you have any ideas for further superpowers, then just let me know, and maybe this could be a part 2 of this, though I don't think I'm gonna do another 50. Yeah, again, so create the time scoreboard if that hasn't happened already, but it's used for quite a lot of these commands. And you might wonder why there's delay in ticks. It's mainly because of the 22 will make it look nice and decrease lags. At least the splash potion particles are a bit performance heavy for some reason. This next power I would actually consider one of my favorites because of the charging mechanism. There's just something appealing about it. But other than that, it's not too spectacular. It just doesn't damage 15 to be exact and pushes enemies back. So this uses a gold nugget with, you guessed it, Daredevil Wave 1. And now you also need to create the charge scoreboard. Wait, something good. No, it didn't have the lenses. And yeah, I'm sorry I'm not doing as much commentary as usual, but we don't want this video to be 6 hours long. Well, 6 hours still might be an overestimation, but still. I'm just maybe too lazy to talk that much. Oh, and in case you ever can see a scoreboard I didn't mention, because I might have forgot it, just add it. Should just be an error message, somewhat similar to scoreboard XYZ not found. Because that's basically scoreboards and structures, essentially the only things you need to do aside from just copying these commands. So yeah, they need some additional care perhaps. And here you go, there's just a bunch of different particle commands. Well, now it's different. Actually, I'm checking real quick, did I? No. This is also important, and be sure to maintain that order. Alright, now there are two more generic ones. Fast Generation, which actually uses raw iron with the Daredevil of 2 this time, so make sure to include that. And it's just a message, it's not really all that important. And Super Resilience, which uses an iron ingot for once. Now the debt is 1 again. But again, neither of these is really that spectacular. The next one was suggested by Pinguelo 802, also on Guppy Dog's Discord server, and there you go, fiery skulls. Yeah, just fiery skulls that chase your opponents. So here we go. CD skull is this one. It's a cooldown, scoreboard, whatever. And actually it's one of the fewer ones that works exclusively with armor stands and not with boats, because they're just much easier for the homing missile thing. Oh well, I wouldn't even call it a homing missile, just basically really chases anything it comes across. And I probably have already noticed a pattern in the first 5-6-ish commands every time. Oh, no, it's even more than that. So, in case you want to make your own powers based on this, then you can absolutely do so. And maybe send me a recording on my Discord server. I'm intrigued to see what you all could come up with. And by the way, if you actually plan to well, copy all of this manually, then I wish you a lot of fun doing that. Right. But yeah, I would recommend to just stick to the powers you really like, because there's a bunch of redundant ones that, or ones that aren't that exciting. Immolation was suggested by Red Spyro 4750, also on Gapidoc's Discord server. And just sets you and your surroundings ablaze, while giving you the benefit of epic fire resistance. That's another fairly simple one, and actually you might be wondering, why does this guy only take suggestions from Gapidoc's Discord server and not from his own? It's because my own Discord server is very small and inactive, to say it best. So if you want to help out with that, you're definitely welcome to do so, and join my Discord server, which is linked in the description. Energy blast, you've seen that one in the intro. But yeah, this should remind you, just launches enemies up a bit, and this 10 damage. And those are the commands you're gonna need. First of all, create the scoreboard CD ring, because it's like an energy ring, at least that was what it was supposed to resemble. And yeah, that's all the scoreboards you need to create. Use a gold ingot with that one. Alright, the light swords just require basically a bunch of particle commands, so that's a real pain in the ass to set up, but still. And you of course need the CD sword, the scoreboard, sorry, for the cooldown, and an iron nugget with that one to detect whether you're using the power. So the sonic beams are also kind of predictable. They just shoot a bunch of sonic beams, like, you know, from the Warden, but they don't do. They just do 12 damage, and it's three of them. So this power's cooldown is named CD Sonic, and well, most of the rest is just kind of the same stuff you've seen before. But yeah, this one also uses armor stands, in case you're interested, instead of boats. I don't exactly remember why I did that, honestly. I think because working with armor stands is a bit, like, simpler. I know I was lazy, but could as well have been boats. So this power uses an emerald to be activated, and Frost Breath just works analogously to the laser ray, laser beam, whatever I called it. And yeah, the only exception is that it slows, and particles might be a bit more fancy depending on who you ask. So let's get into the commands, but I think there are no scoreboards or anything you need to keep in mind, so it's basically this suggestion was made by XMC Gamer 44X. The Chasing Bone. And just know that it works a bit differently when players are involved, so essentially you have a 3-second time window to get away, you get a warning, and if you don't get away far enough in that time, you're just launched into the air by this massive bone, and you take a bunch of damage, not even taking into account the fall damage. Yeah, you need to create 3 scoreboards, time if that hasn't happened yet, then CD bone like this, and fly back like this. Ice shards have been suggested by Final Fantasy 53, and they basically allow you to shoot a bunch of ice shards that freeze enemies. Okay, so you need to create a total of 2 scoreboards. One of them is called Ice Shards, and the other one is called CD Ice, and I'm just going to show you how each of them is spelled. But I think you know how the cooldown thing is spelled by now, if you've made it so far. And yeah, that's the Ice Shards scoreboard. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot you also need to create the scope named time, if that has happened so far. Next, we're changing temperatures a bit with Firestorm. And yeah, it's also something that may or may not decrease your game's performance a bit. Oh, and you need Magma Cream with Data 1. So please create the scoreboard's time and CDF Storm. CDF Storm is... crystal spikes were suggested by Light on Bedrock's Discord server. And I must admit, they're also one of my favorites. We need to create the scoreboards, CD crystal, as well as time. Oh, and you need to use an amethyst with Data 1, if that wasn't clear. Amethyst shard, sorry. Here we got another one of my personal favorites, the Strong Laser. See, it does a ton of damage and also prevents the target from jumping for a few seconds. Which, well, I guess the Iron Golems weren't exactly the best target for this, but I think you get the idea. Oh yeah, and you need clay to activate this. The data is still 1. There's going to be another clay ability later, I think. Anyway, create the scoreboard CD Laser B. And the item is specifically called a clay ball, not just clay, I think that would be the block. The cooldown is named CD Laser B. And you're going to need another scoreboard later named No Jump, like this. And what this does The airstrike was an idea by Arthur and Tunico on Discord. Okay, use Prism Shards with data 1 and create these scoreboards. Air S, Air SP, and of course CDRS. Despite name similarities, the air burst is nothing alike. Just pushes enemies back and does low amounts of damage. Again, as you might have guessed, CDRB for cooldown air burst is the one scoreboard you're gonna have to create. Aside from, well, crouch, but that you should have done a long time ago. The Sonic Wave does damage and gives you the nausea effect as well as a weakness effect for some time. And activating requires a gas tier with Theta 1. Once more, there are two scoreboards you need to create. Time isn't one of them this time. Please create the scoreboard Sonic W hit for Sonic Wave hit. and CD Sonic W for cooldown Sonic Wave. The Crystal Ray was another suggestion by Light on Discord. And yeah, that's what it does. It's quite similar to the other two rays I've already showed you, the ray and the breath or whatever. And yeah, out of these, it's probably my favorite. So this one doesn't require any skulls, if I remember correctly. Oh yeah, and you need to be holding a quad with the other one. Oh yeah, you need to create the time scoreboard, my bad. The firewall is pretty straightforward. It's a wall of fire, and it hurts a lot. You don't want to stand in there. Alright, so yeah, let's get into the commands. They're also quite simple. Please create the time scoreboard and CD fire W for cooldown firewall. I think there's a pattern to be recognized. Invisibility is another pretty straightforward one. Makes you invisible for 20 seconds. Okay. Yeah, and it doesn't only make you invisible, it also gives you resistance. That's why we need to create two scoreboards, CD Invis for the cooldown obviously, and Invis for the duration of both invisibility and resistance effects. Let me quickly delete that. I don't know why I put that there. And of course you need prismarine crystals to activate this. You've already seen the blood daggers at the beginning of this video. But I'm just gonna show them again. Alright. And it's also another one of my personal favorites. So, this one's a bit more complicated as you can see, judging from the tower length, but it's not that bad. So first of all, create the scoreboard, position, blood D, like this, scoreboard called time, and then a scoreboard called CD blood D. Alright, just checking, yeah, position blood D is correct as is. You're gonna need to use a Nautilus shell with Theta 1, who are crouching for this to work. Oh yeah, and also create the scoreboard blood D like that. Which this determines how long you're shooting daggers, essentially. Again, I don't know why I added this one. This doesn't fit in, sorry. Firebolt was another idea by Arthur and Unico on Discord, and it's also pretty cool, in my opinion. This setup requires you to actually use a structure, so I want you to get a structure block, save a structure that's one block on all axes, and put just a bunch of bats in there. Make sure they're teleported inside so that they can't break out. And maybe also the structure void. Don't interfere with the rest of your world when loading the structure. And yeah, that's just a bunch of bats really. Other than that, use netherite scrap with data 1. And let's get into the commands. Oh yeah, of course, also at CD Fireb. Sorry, almost forgot to mention that. Did I show this? I don't think so. The attracting ray is a bit different actually from what we've seen so far. Doesn't do any damage, but it can be used to reel in items and attract monsters. So there's no scoreboards at all. You're gonna have to create just copy all of that. And of course, it uses a flint with data 1. The Rideable Wave is another one that I quite like, and essentially allows you to summon a wave that you can control. Can't get higher than this though. So, use a Spider's Eye with data 1 to activate while crouching, and create the scoreboards CD Wave and Time. Oh yeah, and also you need to create another structure. This time it should just contain a pig with saddle. That's all, and call it saddle pig. And then load it here. Okay. And the rest is actually pretty self-explanatory, and it's a bunch of particles again. This is the Frost Step. And it's basically just a little dash, you might say, that slows enemies, or actually just freezes them for a short duration. Use Sugar with data 1, and create the scoreboard CD Frost S, and the scoreboard Frost S. This ability is called Explosive Burst. And yeah, use gunpowder. It's the first item to do so. So use gunpowder with data 1. Please add a scoreboard called CD Explosion, and also create a scoreboard called Time. Flight is another really cool utility ability. All it rhymes, actually. Yeah, that's what it does. Also works in survival the same way. Now, where is it? Here. Create a structure that just contains a pig with saddle. Alright? Nothing else, aside from structure, but maybe as to not destroy parts of your world while loading it. Name it saddle pig, and then you're fine. The Leech Spear deals damage and gives you regeneration for a very short duration, so that you regain some health. But the downside is it's requiring a lot of commands. Okay, as far as I recall, CD Spear is the only score you're gonna have to create. So here you go. Oh yeah, also use copper ingots for this one with data 1. Man, I keep forgetting that, but the Void Shot is basically the opposite of the Attracting Ray. Use a Slime Ball with data 1 to activate and create the scoreboard CD Void. And let's continue. Explosive Raid is about what you expect. No scores for this one. Just another ray. And it's probably the one I personally like least, I'd say. Because at that point I kind of just started running out of ideas, honestly. And it's something generic like that, but if any of you still is interested in copying these commands, then you're free to do so. I'm not skipping through these too fast, but the video is starting to get kind of long, so you'll just have to pause a bit. Rage just bestows a lot of positive effects on you. You're fast, your haste, and strength. It uses an armadillo scoot, the other one, and you need to create the CD Rage scoreboard. Oh, and you're also healed. I couldn't really see that because I wasn't on survival, and again, it's been a while since I made these. Yeah, there's also no glowing ticks anywhere here. Good. Here's another frost power, the Frost Meteor. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It also slows you, but the pig is a bit too fragile in order to showcase this. Oh yeah, we're here. Please create a CD Frost M, cooldown Frost Meteor. And what else? Yeah, it's Heart of the Sea that you test for activation. That was alright. Just start with something off the first glance. Explosive strike is as simple as you can get. It's just a small explosion that deals some damage. Oh, and yeah, create CD strike. And this uses a clay ball, and we already had a clay ball, so this needs to be data 2. Because the strong laser also uses a clay ball for activation. So I have been dreading this moment since the very beginning of this video, but here we are. We've arrived at this soul combo, which is, well, the longest command tower of this whole project, basically. Well, aside from these ones, but they don't really matter for the sake of this particular video. Without anything further ado, let's test it out. Yeah, just continually teleports you to your target, and then it explodes in a shockwave. And the shockwave is surprisingly the part that, well, requires many commands. It's kind of similar to the Firestorm, actually. So please create the CD combo score and create a time scoreboard. And a combo scoreboard. Okay, now let's have a look at acidic vomits. I mean, I guess it doesn't really look like I'm vomiting, but at least that's what it was supposed to resemble. And creates these little puddles that still do damage. Anyway, what do they still do damage? I'm not totally sure. Again, it's been a while since I've made these. So you want to use a slime ball, but this time use one with data 2. Add the scoreboard CD acid V and the scoreboard acid V, and I suppose you also need the scoreboard called time. Okay, third to the last, we have the Ultra Jump, which allows you to jump. Some might call this uncreative, but I think it's actually kind of fun to play around with. And you see, it doesn't work in the air. Realistically, you can't double jump this way. Okay. So, we've already used the feather before, so this feather is going to require data 2. And you don't have a cooldown or anything, because honestly the airtime is cooldown enough. Now actually second to last we've got heal, which just restores all your health and has a 2-minute cooldown. I know it's not really optimal to be creative to show this, but just take my word for it this time. Yeah, right. Use glowstone with data 2. Sorry, that was one of the wrong commands. Use glowstone with data 2. Or glowstone dust specifically, and add a scoreboard called CD heal. And then you're fine. And now to the last superpower that you've all been craving. Actually, it probably will cause some dismay because it's just a superior super strength. Use raw gold with data 2 to get strength 5 continuously. Yeah, you know what, I completely ran out of ideas at this point. So just take it or leave it. Watching this video, you might have realized that many of the ideas weren't my own actually, but they were part of a community. Albeit not my community. Still, I think if you enjoyed this video, you will also enjoy the one linked on the screen right now where I made your stupid ideas in Minecraft Bedrock.